We are live for another episode of the Real Life Game Changers, and that's exactly who you are looking at right now, a pair of superstars that have changed the game. And in this episode, we're going to be digging deep into what they did and how they did it. First of all, thank you so much for coming on to the show.
Pleasure. Pleasure to be here. Thank you for inviting us. Yep.
Yeah, so first you guys made it onto Transformational Tuesday with your inspirational story, and now we're on our podcast episode here, how I built over £5.5 million portfolio, and you guys really, actually you won an award. What was your award this year?
We did. Most inspirational. They're quite fitting. Well, yeah. We got two awards. We got most inspirational, and we won one for one of our HMOs.
Yeah, with the property doctors.
Most creative deal, that was it.
Wow, that is super fantastic. So double award-winning property investors, most inspirational, doing amazing deals. Also, I remember you coming to the last ever PWT that we did, and you were showing some of your projects, Nicola, as well. You were there. So let's get into that. But before we do that, just give anyone who's watching new here or are new to you guys, just give us a little bit of background, how you guys, grew up, and then how you got to doing property, and where you are today in terms of your results and your life. And then we'll dig deep into how you got there.
Okay, super. Do you want me to go first? Okay, I worked as I've done lots of different jobs. Basically, I've had a lot of different jobs. Mainly, most of my career was in the police. And by 2018, I'd done 15 years of safeguarding, which, to be honest, I was just exhausting mentally, physically, emotionally. And at that point, I decided I didn't want to be a police officer anymore. I was a detective sergeant. And me and Julia had already had a couple of properties that we'd rented out. Yeah. We'd done that classic accidental landlord thing where I'd had a flat, Julia had a flat, and we'd moved in together in a house and rented those flats out. So, but also we'd done what we call a slow flip without realising that's what it was, where we bought our houses, done them up and moved on, bought our houses, done them up, moved on, and we'd ended up into quite a nice house. So that when I wanted to leave the police and didn't know what to do, I was like, kind of know property. That was all I knew. So that was how I kind of decided on property.
Yeah, so like Nikki said, I was an accidental landlord as well. I, at roughly the same time as Nikki left the police, I've been working at Unilever in sales. I've been there for about 20 years in different roles. And I got offered voluntary redundancy, which, because the amount of years I've been there, I got quite a good payout. And at the time, it just felt like it was kind of energy speaking to us, just telling us to just go for it. So I took redundancy, and we used my payout to start us on the journey. So we bought our first buy-to-let, which we did up. It was auction properties, back to brick. It was in a right state. Huge learnings from that, because we did that one from doing it ourselves, actually getting in there, getting our hands dirty. So which we got a lot. Nothing's ever the wrong thing to do. We've got a lot of learnings, but we definitely learned not to do that again. But there was loads of experience that we got from that we've applied again. So yeah, that was really the start of the journey, wasn't it?
That was the start of the journey, and then after that one, we joined Real Life.
Yeah.
Pretty much.
Nice. We're going to dig that deep into that. Before we do that, we're going to ask the help of these people who are viewing, as we had some technical challenges. So we're in the middle of a social experiment of starting my Mark Harvey social media presence all over again. So I don't even know how these people found this page, because it only went live at 5 o'clock today. So it's only been live 2 hours. So good job, however you found this. So do us a favor. First of all, comment, let us know who you are, where you are in the world watching this. But also then hit the share button. And for people, I can see Ian. So share this into the Real Life tribe. I know loads of people have been waiting for this episode. So share it into, Lucy as well. So share it into the Real Life tribe. This is streamed across Facebook. It's also on YouTube. And by the way, we're soon to be going on Amazon Live and LinkedIn Live. I didn't even know Amazon Live existed.
No.
Yeah. But yeah, we'll be doing that as well. So yeah, go ahead. It was tricky, but you guys found it. Okay, so some people have commented. So this is also, put your comments in here of any questions you have as we go through the journey of Nicola and Julia here. Because I tell you something, you guys are in for a massive, massive treat. So hit the share hit the share button, let us know you shared it. And actually, we're going to be giving out some prizes. Julia and Nicola are going to select a winner. They didn't know that, but there'll be a way that you guys are going to be selecting a winner. Don't worry, you don't pick a name. You're just going to be picking a number. But to be in for a winner of the new product line of all the real life merchandise. This is top quality, clothing and merchandise. Hit the share button and tag at least 10 other people in this feed, wherever it is that you're watching it. Yeah, so go ahead and doing it. Oh, well done. Sheila has shared it. That's how people are finding it. So great job. Yeah, so let's get into it then. So you did a property by yourself. So what made you want to, like do something different? Why do something different? Why not just carry on doing it? Because it obviously kind of worked, right?
Yeah. I mean, what had happened is I started specifically going on a few of these sort of free courses that I'd seen, and I knew I didn't know everything I needed to know, and also I wanted to build my network. I think because, like, we all say your network is your net worth, and it's hard doing things alone, and it's lonely doing things alone. And we knew we wanted to break into HMOs because I'd sort of seen on a lot of property groups that HMOs were cash flowing quite well. That's houses of multiple occupancy. And yeah, we kind of wanted to meet other people that had that experience, because we'd pretty much done buy-to-lets and we'd done renovations, but we'd never done a HMO renovation.
Yeah, and they were working, so we were starting to get good income from them, getting good learnings, but the money that we were putting into them, we weren't always able to totally recycle, and we were watching people doing things on social media, and we're just like, how are people doing this? Because we're going to run, my redundancy money or savings is just going to run out at some point. So how do we actually get more money to be able to invest in more properties and do this at a faster rate? Because we both left our jobs and it was working well, but we were still very much growing, so we were putting as much money as we could back into the business, and our ultimate aim was to get more free time. Yeah, we both worked, Nikki particularly in the police was working really long shifts. I'd often work long hours. You were expected to work late quite often. And we both just wanted to get back our time, be our own boss, be able to spend the time how we wanted to do it, spend it with our children, with the family. So yeah, we kind of got to the point where we were just like, how can we change the way we do things so that we can get that free time, and we can actually get more money to buy more properties to accelerate.
Yeah, and then because I was following a lot of Facebook groups, I started to follow a particular lady, a lady called Tara, and she just kept commenting on her real life coach, and she was thanking her, a lady called Claudine Robertson Smith, and saying, thank you so much. And she was a single mum in Brighton, and I was like, how is this woman achieving so much so quickly? So I'll be honest, I met her for a coffee and asked her, and that's where it all began.
Yeah, beautiful. So talk us about, like, what was then your first project? Did you go straight into then doing a HMO?
So when we joined Real Life, I had actually bought 5 flats at auction very cheaply. They were a really good buy, but they were up in the northeast, and I went and sort of did some work on them. Again, I was still doing it pretty much myself, but I employed someone, and when I went up there and met a tradesman I liked, I let him run it then thereon. So we kind of had that finishing off while we were sort of at the start of our journey, but we also straight away, we literally just started networking within the Real Life tribe. And we were very clear that we wanted to meet people with HMO experience, because that was where we felt we were lacking at that point. And we just kept putting ourselves out there, didn't we? And quite quickly, I think within a couple of months, we had our first.
Yeah, we spoke to quite a few people, didn't we? And we were really lucky. We found some great JV partners that we had a lot in common with. Because for us, our projects have been in the north, so we're all in the northeast, and so because we were project managing it, and like I said, the first one we were hands on. It's a lot of travel, and we ended up doing the opposite what we wanted to do, which we ended up spending more time away from the family rather than with the family.
Yep.
So for our JV partners, we really wanted to find someone that was like-minded, someone that had the experience, but also someone that was located where the HMOs were, so that we could we could do the things that you can do remotely, but they could do the things that were more on the ground. So that was so that's how we got into HMOs, and that was our sort of first
we
project,
kind of set a criteria of what we could offer people and what we needed them to offer, and we just found people that we gelled with, and that's how we started the journey. And I think in our first year with Real Life, we started 2 JV relationships, and we bought two properties that we were renovating.
Yeah, very good. So tell us about them. Like, what did you buy them as? What did you turn them into? And how was that first kind of few projects you did?
So we bought 2 very rundown properties. One was at auction in Derby, and we got that at a bit of a steal. And luckily, that was actually, we purchased that from an auctioneer who I purchased the 5 flats from up north, and that actually worked really well because it didn't go for the asking price in the room, and then it kind of, they started to communicate with us afterwards. And because I'd asked a lot of questions and I'd highlighted some inconsistencies in the legal pack, and I'd pretty much shown that I knew what I was talking about, we ended up being the preferred buyer, even though we weren't the highest offer. So that was a big win. Yeah. So we got that accepted in Derby, and that was, like I said, run down. I think that was a 3-bed.
It was a 3-bed. We turned that into, as a 6-bed HMO. It was 5 studios, one ensuite.
That has used pretty much an exclusive kitchen, because the other 5 all have their own kitchens.
Yeah.
So that was our first one, and then at the same time we bought a property with our very current JV partners, George and Alice, in Cardiff. And that was our first one with them, and again that was quite a rundown sort of 3. I think that might have been a 3-bed.
That was a 3-bed, and we turned that into 7-bed, 9 occupancy. So that again was, I think, what's that? It's 5 en suites, 2 off suites, with a huge kitchen, communal area.
Yeah. So, and that was the second one that we did, and then really the compound effect started to take effect. We took on another 2 JV partnerships, and we got a lot more experience in terms of raising money. We found that was what we were really quite good at, because we're quite good at giving people security, and we had some financial security behind us anyway. We had our own property. And we just managed to build relationships. I think, by treating people a certain way, with respect and kindness, and always doing the right thing, like we say, for the right reason, people then wanted to work with us. And like, we got our biggest investor through our solicitor, who recommended us. He sort of said, these girls know what they're doing, I really recommend him. And he recommended us to a friend, and that was literally how we started to build our business. Great,
good. So I just want to pull on a couple of things that like you did a lot of the what's called the outer strategies, the outer world things, but you're also playing the inner game, and you're doing that. And people are asking on here, like, how can we do this quicker? So we want to get into that. But before we do that, just remember to be in with a chance to win some merchandise here. We're going to give away some free stuff. Do tag at least 10 people and give this a share on your timeline. Yeah, I just worked out how to share it on my old account, which is where everyone would normally watch it. So hopefully that'll reach some more people now. So yeah, good. So yeah, so the outer strategies, obviously we've got to work numbers out. We've got to, work out what it's going to be in the end, and then we're going to work out how much it costs us to do it. So you're obviously doing those strategies. But like Ian is asking, how can you do this quicker? I think what I want to ask is, how certain were you that obviously expanding your network, going to meet people was actually going to yield you results? Like, did you know that for sure, or were you kind of just going along with something?
No, I was trusting the process, if I'm honest. When you first start out, you feel, you do a lot of work and you don't see the benefits straight away. So this is like the benefit of the compound effect, right? So you're doing little actions, you're taking little steps. And, you look at people, we were looking at people like Lewis Perrin, Claudine. We were looking at those people who were like 2 years ahead of us. And we were like almost in awe of them, and just like, wow, like, I hope that one day we can be doing what they're doing. And will it happen? And you just feel like you're we slogged. We didn't not. Don't think this comes easy, because it doesn't. You do have to work at it. I went to PIM meetings, networking events. I talked to anybody. Literally told everybody what I did. My hairdresser became an investor. Everybody just. I mean, I'm a natural. I wouldn't say I'm a saleswoman, but I just tell people what I do because I'm interested in what I do and I love what I do. And actually what we do does give people a win-win. So we do use other people's money to help us buy these products, these houses, and develop them. But, the truth is, people like investors are also people like my mother, people like aunties, because they had their money tied up in banks, and some of them were losing money. They had money in these stock ISA things in the banks. The banks were charging them a fee, even if they weren't making them any money. So they were losing money. And now I'm able to give them money. So that's, because I want to grow people who I care about. I want to grow their money for them as well. So, everything we've done has benefited everybody around us, really. Yeah, so but in the start, no, if I'm honest, it feels hard. It's a bit like anything, yeah. You start training for a marathon, you start training for anything, you will. It's really hard to start, and then it does actually get easier with the compound effect. And like I say, our first year was 2, and then now we've got sort of 6. We're always. We'd almost feel like we weren't doing much if we didn't have 5 or 6 on the go. Whereas in the first year, that would have felt like no way.
Have felt way too stressful.
Yeah, it would have felt too stressful.
But I think it says that the more you do, I think it's just that constantly learning, constantly seeking for new knowledge. Like Nikki said, just networking, talking to different people, understanding how they're doing things, watching what people are doing, seeing those people that really inspire you and reaching out to them and, asking them questions to sort of glean how they're doing things. I think seeing other people achieving what we want to achieve, that gave us some confidence to think we're going in the right direction. And I think what helps not in real life, it was seeing people were sharing their wins, but they're also sharing when stuff goes wrong and like, oh my God, like this has happened. Does anybody know
how to deal with this?
And seeing that really helped, because no path is straight, and just you're not constantly growing. There's dips and troughs, and you'll always come across challenges. So I think that networking and really seeing what other people are doing really helps.
But I think in answer to Ian's question about how can we do this faster, I would just say, this is a marathon. It's not a sprint. Like, just don't try and do it too fast. If I'm honest, run your own race. One of the things that I learned quite early on was don't compare yourself with other people. Yeah, because that just run your own race, take your time. And actually, I was kind of thinking that I can't think of the word, but I was thinking about this if I got asked this question, because it reminded me, years ago, I used to do the London to Brighton every year. And every year, when I hit the Ditchling Beacon, I don't know whether you know this, it's after about 60 miles, you hit the Ditchling Beacon. It's really, really steep hill coming into Brighton. And every year, I could guarantee at the beginning, I would be being overtaken by all these young lads and lasses who would be on their toes, going as fast as they could. And every year, about halfway up, I'd overtake them, and they'd be walking. The truth is, don't burn yourself out. Just slow and steady. So, let the compound effect happen. Yeah, you don't need to race, because actually, if you race, that's when you'll chase shiny pennies. That's when you'll maybe make wrong decisions. Do the numbers, make sure they work. And, if the deal doesn't work, don't go for it. Take your time. If you go to auction, we were really strict with ourselves. We set ourselves a limit, and if it went over, it went over. It wasn't for us. And sometimes those deals come back to you, actually. The amount of times we put offers in on deals and someone's bid higher, and then obviously the figures haven't worked, they've pulled out, and it comes back to us. So, just set yourselves your limits and stick to it, because what you don't want to do is over leverage. That would be my one advice.
Yeah, good. So you talk about following the process, and you talked about working the numbers out, make sure you know what a deal is. But do you remember any points in your mind? Was there any doubts, and what did you do to keep going and following this process, so to say?
Coaching. You have. I mean, it's a mixture of coaching and having the network and the tribe, because, and this is where like people sort of don't realize the benefit of this sort of community, because there's a lot of people say, oh, you can do it on your own, and like I said, that's a really lonely route. The truth is, like, you will doubt yourself, you will get scared. Me and Julia had never ever been people that, we didn't even have a car on HP. We were always people who didn't buy something until we'd saved the money, you know. So I'll be honest, for us, lending money off people and building up what is effectively quite a lot of debt in terms of mortgages and lending money and angel finance was really scary for us, wasn't it? It was really scary at the start. And if we hadn't had a coach that supported us through that and helped us change our mindset, you know, we were indoctrinated in the typical thing of society of, you know, debt is bad. And actually now, the more you learn about how money works, and, you know, I buy a house, let's say that house is worth 400,000 and my mortgage is 300,000. In 10 years' time, if I don't take any money out of that house, that mortgage stays at 300,000, but the house is going to be worth 800. You know, debt isn't bad. Debt is actually what gets you. You know, the truth is, like, the real wealth owners are people that own assets, and they leverage those assets. So it's just changing your mindset, and you can't do that without support. You can't, can you?
No, because for us, whenever we had doubts, for us, for the coach, you know, our coach Claudine would always bring back to our goals. So why are we doing this?
Our reason why.
Always back to our reason why, and she told us accountable. So if there was stuff we hadn't done because we were, you know, because we were scared, or the risk felt big, she'd always just to help us sort of break it down. And help us sort of see logic rather than sort of fear, sort of breaking. So what really get to the nitty gritty of why we were scared. And once you kind of understand that, you can usually overcome it. So for us, that was a massive help, and that's probably, I would say, what helped us to accelerate things, was having that real idea of what our goals truly were, and the accountability, because it's really, really difficult to hold yourself accountable.
Yeah, and you really need that accountability, because actually sometimes you know, we all do it. We all, it's the little things that will make the big difference, and we'll all procrastinate on those things. And you know, I remember I'm not a particularly tight person, but I don't like wasting money, obviously. And I remember there was something I wasn't doing, and Claudine was like, right, if it's not done by our next thing, you've got to give me £500. I did it. But, you know, it worked. It's just like she'd find our pain points and make us move forward and make us not procrastinate.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's the thing, you know, finding leverage. Yeah, and that's what a good person would do. So you guys, now you started to build your portfolio, and then you've moved out to Spain, right?
Yeah. We moved out last April. Yeah.
Was that the goal from the beginning, or did that just happen on the way?
It was definitely a goal for me from the beginning.
Yeah, it was more probably for Nikki than it was for me. We knew we wanted to move abroad. We wanted to live somewhere different. We liked the idea of moving abroad. I think though, once the business started growing and we got the scale and things were really moving, I think that inspired us to sort of think a bit bigger with our goals. And that's when we then really set on moving to Spain, and it suddenly felt achievable. Whereas right at the beginning, that felt like that was years.
Well, it was a 5-year goal, wasn't it? It was never, you know, we did it in 2.5 years, but it was a 5-year goal. But also, this is where coaching helped us as a couple as well, because, you know, I now, as you know, I do coaching now myself, and, you know, I always sort of say, like, property is the vehicle to get you where you want to go, but ultimately it's life coaching. It's not just property coaching. And like learning about things like your human needs, and like Julia's got a huge human need for certainty, and Claudine helped us sort of almost help me, you know, communicate better with Julia and bring Julia on that journey with me. So in order to get Julia to feel comfortable to move to Spain, you know, I needed to fulfill her needs for certainty, and you know, and we did that by doing it gradually, visiting, finding out how it would work, finding the schools for the boys. Making sure the boys were bringing the boys on that journey with us as well, getting the boys on side. And actually, in the end, it was quite funny because I'd sort of done all this work to sort of get them here, and then it was actually me that then went, ah!
Yeah,
and
she got a bit
I'd
chicken.
fulfilled her certainty so much, she then pulled me back. So it was good.
Yeah, it was team effort.
Yeah, love it. So what are some of the things that you have, because some people might have those goals. So anybody listening, let us know in the comments, by the way, if you have goals like this where you either want to go travel or you might want to move. What were some of the things that you had to have in place? How did you build systems? How did you build your business? How do you build your team so you could actually go ahead and do that?
You have to have a power team. You have to have a team. You know, it's a bit like, you know, I'm not going to go into politics, but I'm always like Brexit, like, because ultimately you grow by working with people. Yeah, you grow by having, like, you can grow so far on your own, but if you bring people along with you, if you get people to believe in you, and you believe in other people, and you also get the best out of them, and you support them, then your trajectory is so much quicker. So like for us, it was all about, and this is one tip I would give is try to systemize as much as possible at the beginning, because a big pain for us was systemizing a bit later on. Partway through, that was quite hard work.
Let's touch on that, because
Yeah.
I'm forever, some people, they're like, yeah, I'm already in business, and I say, who's not in business? And they say, I'm not in business. I'm like, you guys have got a head start. And they're like, why? And I'm like, because you don't have anything, so like there's no bad habits, and you can start systemizing now. Can you please help me? What can I say to really drill it in so people don't do what you did? Because I'm pretty certain we would have said systemize at the beginning, but people don't. Yeah. And then they wait, and then, you know, blah, 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 and you know the story. So what are some of the really painful things that happened because you didn't systemize, and like how much longer did it take you because you had to backtrack?
Oh God, it's just things like, I mean, it's simple things like, I'll pick a real logical thing, because was illogical, because before I was in the police, I was an accountant, and actually, and maybe because I was an accountant, I hated doing it. So it was just things like leaving your invoices in and doing them all at the year end. And whereas now everything, like literally everything is linked with Xero. The second something's paid from the bank, I can reconcile it, or I can get a bookkeeper to reconcile it. You know, now we have one email address where all the purchase invoices go into, all the income reconciliation statements go into. So I could have someone in the Philippines doing my reconciliations on Xero, because they've just got to go in my email accounts, and there's all the statements. They file it on a Dropbox. It's all filed on a Dropbox, so it's we can share those Dropboxes wherever. We can put different controls over them. It's yeah. When we didn't do that to start with, and we're trying. Oh God, what did I spend that £200 on? Where's that invoice? Where's that?
Yeah, like, you just
painful.
Because I think once you start growing quite quickly, and we went from doing 1 or 2 projects to, like Nikki was saying, we're having 5 or 6. Well, our time was spent sort of working on the business, running those and driving that forward. We didn't have the time to do the invoicing. So, it would get left, and then it would be this huge mammoth job, which would then take up our time, the time we didn't really have and want to spend doing that. So it became a huge pain, but you know,
but once it's done and you get it systemized, it's like, oh, why didn't I do that from the start?
if I could avoid that pain, then I definitely would have done the systemization at the start. And you know, you look back and you just think it didn't seem logical, but actually we should have actually invested the time and the money systemizing it right at the start, ready for once we started moving more quickly.
I think again, some of that was driven by fear, because we did have to we'd always had a regular income. We'd both been salaried, so we didn't just have the development company. We then set up a lettings management company. We set up a construction company. We had we were basically working long days.
We were working quite long days.
We were just chasing our tail. So, you know, with hindsight, maybe we could have done things. We could have done things differently. We could have done things a bit slower. But I'm also really just chuffed of where we've got. You know, the truth is, you learn from your mistakes, and yeah, if you can, guys, like get everything systemized as much as you can from the start. You know, get yourself onto Xero. Make sure you've got your bookkeeper if you can't do it yourself. Don't be afraid to invest in people to do this work for you, because, like Julia said, we were working in the business instead of on it, and that was our big mistake.
Yeah.
But I think a lot of people do that to start with. Like now, Now we're very strategic. We very much work on the business rather than in it. You know.
And sometimes it takes that great amount of pain, doesn't it, to get you to take action. But if I was starting again, I was sat looking at people from the outside, I'd systemize to start with and save yourself that pain.
Yeah, and don't try and do everything yourself.
Yeah, and that's why I was hoping you give me the answer to stop people like waiting before they take the action on this stuff. Someone's asked a question here. Good to know how much the coaching costs. Well, that depends. Reach out to our team and they can have a chat with you. But you're saying what Stephen is asking, what strategies do you learn along the way and ensure multiple streams of income? Yeah, so actually it'd be good to know, guys. Yeah, what were all the different strategies you've done? I know you've done many different incomes coming in from different angles. So yeah, what were some of those strategies that you learned?
Yeah, so for us, we've obviously got some of your vanilla buy-to-lets. We've got some houses and multiple occupancies, HMOs. We've got holiday lets, SAs. What I would say is, we've always sort of started small with anything we've done, if I'm honest. And I'm not saying that everybody has to play it like that. We like to make sure the figures work. Now it's interesting, isn't it? Because your brain, as you grow, your risk appetite changes. What you look at changes. So like now, if someone came to me with a deal, it wouldn't really matter if it was 200,000 or 2 million. What would matter is that it fits my percentages. That's all that matters. But certainly when we started off, we just did probably smaller projects to get our confidence. Yeah. The truth is that you can ask all the questions in the world, you can do all the research, you can read all the books in the world, but the truth is you will not really learn until you take action. So you just have to put yourself out there. You, if you can, then maybe do your first HMO with somebody who's already done one. It'll also help you in terms of getting your finance and stuff because you're buying with someone with experience. And again, with our SA, our first SA we did with someone that had SA experience. Whereas now we're like, oh yeah, like we'd quite happily go off and buy our own hotel. Like we've now, our whole mindset has changed, and we just know that we can make businesses work. But you have to sometimes build up that confidence.
We also mixed it up with geographically as well. So in the south, we've got a few properties there, buy-to-lets. We get a good steady monthly income from that, but it's not huge. But the capital growth is very large. When you go further north, the capital growth is slower, but actually the yield is higher. So again, sort of mixing the strategies up in that way as well, to really sort of a more diverse portfolio.
But you end up in different networks. You end up doing different things. You end up, I don't know, whether it's going to golf courses, whether it's like we're planning on joining a sailing club. You end up mixing with different people. So what happens is your world opens up anyway. So like, for example, we're now going into stock options. Like there's so many courses out there on stock options and stock buying. And the truth is I've got to a mindset now of I don't want to do that. Why would I want to learn all that? I'll just pay someone that knows what they're doing. So that's what we're doing. Like now we're into stock options. We pay someone to do that for us. So why would we do it? Because we don't want to. Our whole goal was about free time. So it's trusting other people to do what they're experts at. And it might mean that we make slightly less because we have to pay them a share of what they make for us. But I've got my free time and that's more important.
Yeah.
Yeah, beautiful. And this is what a lot of people they miss around anything regarding making money. And these, there's lots of what I call property investors out there, but very few are learning how to be a property entrepreneur. Yeah, and I believe that's why we've done it differently. You guys do it differently because and I don't know if you guys are doing this, but like when you get the properties, you add value to them, you can refinance them, you're pulling out debt, which is tax-free money, and you use this tax-free money. Now, obviously, you own that property that's going to cash flow anyway, but then you take the tax-free money that cannot be taxed and then go put that into another investment and start making more money off that as well. Yeah, which, is the great thing about real estate because that is real and you'll always be able to leverage against it. Can't say that I can leverage against, hey, give me your money and I'll put it in a stock account. And not many people want to lend me the money to do that. Although I know people do that and put it into hedge funds and things like that. So it's crazy. Yeah. So my question to you guys is, with now all of the experience, all the twists and turns, you seem very calm, you seem very laid back, you got it, under control, you're going into big things. Like, what would your advice be to either people out there, like, they want to get started, or maybe they're already started, but they want to scale it up? Like, give us, I know what you want to say. Is you got to learn yourself, develop yourself. You got to get coached. I know you're going to say that, but like, what are some of the strategic things that they should have in place, and what are some of the things that they might have to do regarding believing in themselves to just take the action? Like, what's your advice there?
I think set your goals, then set your parameters. So this is already starting to systemize. So you set your parameters. Okay, if I buy, like, for example, we've got very strict parameters, and ours aren't as strict as some people's. But like, if we buy something and we spend, let's do it in easy numbers, 150,000 buying it, and we spend 150 doing it up, and that includes build cost, interest, all of those things. It has to be worth 400 at the end, okay? And then, so basically, we then remortgage it for 300. We pay everybody off. We haven't made any money, but we've got the asset, cash flowing asset, and we've got £100,000 equity in it. That's like our minimum sort of. Now we've had our properties that we've bought that maybe it's been worth 500, and like you've just said, we've actually took out, 350,000, even though we've only spent 300, and we've had that 50 grand to then invest in the next project. But we have had some of the bigger projects where we've left money in, and equally that's okay for us, because if it's something that's got capital growth, so we have a real strict criteria for everything. So if it's something I'm going to leave money in, then I know, for example, I pay most of my investors 10%. So as long as it's basically cash flowing enough to pay that 10% interest to my investors and profit to me, and enough profit that I could get rid of those investors in 2 to 3 years if I needed to, then I'm happy. So set yourself your criteria, have your criteria, stick to it, because then when you do get scared, when you do think, oh, like, can I buy this property? Can I do this? You just do the figures. You just look at the figures, do it, does it work? And have more than one exit strategy. So if something happens, all of a sudden I haven't got that, those angel investors all pull out, I can't leave money in it. Can I sell it? Yes, I can. And then I make money that way. Just have a couple of exit strategies and be really strict with yourself, because actually being strict with yourself and having those criteria is what gives you the confidence to move forward, and to take the deals. And yes, systemize as much as you can. Make sure you've got your good accountant in place. Get your solicitor. Get your power team.
Get your power team
Get
together.
your build team. And as much as you can, leverage people. So we've leveraged in terms of, our business partners. We've got business partners, and they leverage us. Like, I'm really good at accounts, so all of my business partners leave the accounts to me. They don't have to. And I've got one business partner, and she's like, I just love working with you because I don't have to worry about that side of thing. And that's fine, because that's what I'm good at. She leverages me, I leverage her, because she is there. She's there. She runs everything.
She does the project management. She finds the deals.
Yeah.
So it works both ways.
Yeah.
Fantastic. Yeah, very good. And you just remind me about, so many people, they hear about these things online, like, oh, below market value, and they think that's how you make money. I mean, obviously, yes, if you're buying something very low, yeah, you can make money, but they don't understand it's a gap. But this thing about, and then the next phase was, got to be able to take all my money out. Yeah. And then basically, if you can't take the money out, they think it's not a deal. But some of the best deals is where, for me, I'm just going off for me, is where there's actually money left in. Yeah, because, there's a phrase I love, and that's ROI. Yeah, because I'm always looking for ROI. I mean, yes, if the ROI is infinite, that's fine. But there does become a point where you do start to make money. So you've got to be wise of what you do with it. What are you going to do? Just keep taking it all back out? Yeah, you can keep putting it into project. But at some point, like you say, your time's more important. So where can you put your money? And if you can put money into something that cash flows a couple of grand and there's only 10 or 20K left in, you're talking ROIs of 150 to 300%. Yeah. Tell me where you can get that solid. I mean, listen, in the heydays of the crypto rise, although I was in it many years before that anyway, sometimes I was making 3,000% in a week, but like, how solid is that? Like, I'm at the mercy of the market. I'm at the mercy of like what's Elon Musk going to say today about some Dogecoin or whatever. And I don't want to be at the mercy of anyone else. That's why I got into this game in the first place, because I didn't want to be at the mercy of what people call the economy. Yeah. So that's a thing I would just add on to the spin of that. Anybody listening here, like, you got to look at what the ROI is and actually get that.
Absolutely.
Because 5% or whatever, in your ISA or whatever you get these days. I mean, I don't even look at it. It's so woeful, I never. In fact, my pension, I bet some people, pensions are much bigger than mine. You know how much is in my pension? £7,000.
Because it's invested. It's the same with us, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's all invested.
Well, number one, when I was a kid, I just used to blow my money, so I never had a pension anyway. But when I took a pension in one of the jobs I had, because they said, "Oh, we'll pay the money as well." But then when I started getting my head into money, I was like, "Forget that." That's no good.
Yeah, you'll make your money grow faster.
I mean, the truth is, our property's our pension, but we do have a SAS pension, but that's because it's a way of putting money into it, and then we invest that in property. So it's
brilliant. Good. So hey, last chance to get into the prize draw, which we're going to select just before the end of this. So hit the share button, let us know you shared it, tag at least 10 people, do that quickly. By the way, the stuff that we're giving away, I haven't got any sample. I'm going to hold this, but this is just close. Yeah, but like, listen, we have got top of the range garments coming out. I even want to create a real life suit. I don't know if we'll sell them. Maybe I'll just wear it myself, unless people want to buy it. Let me know what you want to buy. But yeah, we've got all the good stuff. So you guys, this stuff ain't even on sale yet. You can't. The stuff we're going to give away, you can't even buy. Yeah, you can't even buy it yet because it's not out. It's not live yet. But it is top of the range. So go ahead and do that. So, just before we wrap it up then, because I know we've got our mastermind, which our community will be going into. So we want to give them a quick break in between for those that are here live. What is your parting advice for someone who, is listening here? Maybe they don't know what to do, or maybe they are already doing something, but they want to make more. They want to do something. They want to go to the next level. What's your kind of message to them? What's your 30-second message? Let's take 30 seconds each.
Oh, okay. My advice would be, just take action. So it's all about taking action. Take those little steps. Trust in the compound effect. Maybe read the compound effect. It will help you. Don't try to do it alone. Grow your network. Be involved. Definitely, I think, get coaching. I think that sort of support, you can't investing in yourself is the best investment you will ever make. And yes, I know, I remember when I first got my first coaching bill, I was like, but you know what, I don't even look at it now because the company pays for it. And we still invest in ourselves constantly. In fact, we invest double what we invested in that first year in ourselves now. So invest in yourself, believe in the process, believe in yourself. It is all mindset. It's all mindset. If you tell yourself you can't do something, you can't do it. You tell yourself you can, you will. That's it.
That was a long 30 seconds. I think she's stolen all mine. I was going to say I've stolen most of what I was going to say. I would say, I was very hesitant on going on the journey to start with. I'm not a big risk taker, but I say if you want to do something, is have faith in yourself, have faith in the process, educate yourself as much as you can, but it's all really about just doing it. Yeah, you just got to go ahead and do something, and you can only research so far. Don't go into too much detail, and just take a calculated risk, but just do it and just start on that journey. Because if you don't start, 10 years will have gone past, and you'll wonder what would have been if you'd actually had the guts to actually go for it.
Yeah, just go for it.
Beautiful. So before we wrap it up with our final famous question for this podcast and our community, you guys, you need to collectively decide on one number. It is from 1 to 4 inclusive. So go ahead and pick the prize draw number, and then that person has to be still watching and comment to receive the prize.
2.
That's number 1.
Which one you going with?
That should be number 1. Come on.
You say okay.
Should
Number
always be the
1.
number
Number
one.
1. Number
You're
1.
going with number 1?
Yeah, we're going to go the first one out of the block. Number 1.
That is Lucy Fowler. So
Well done, Lucy.
if you're here, comment.
That wasn't a fix. That's one of my That's one of my mentees. That wasn't a fix.
you didn't know what the numbers were, so it can't be fixed. Can it?
No.
Yeah. There you go. So Lucy, direct message the Mark Harvey real life page. That's the new one. Yeah, the new one. I think you must be watching it on there. If you're on Facebook, looks like you're on Facebook. Message the page, just saying #winner. One of our team will get in touch with you, show you what the options are, and you can select your prize. Yeah, so great job on that. Yeah, so final question. You know, we have a famous saying. Well, before I ask you that question, I just want to say thanks for coming on. What a great session it's been. Very informative. Lots of different nuances people to take away. So I appreciate that.
No problem.
And here's a question. Yeah, I don't know if you know the answer to this or not, but we have a saying in our community that you must do the right thing for the right reason. Now, why is that?
Because it's the only way to fulfill your true potential.
There we go. Thank you very much. And thank you, everybody.